Steve Goldstein going to join us, voice of the Florida Panthers, MC'd the parade yesterday, and we were talking right before we went live here. Me and Izzy were surprised to learn that had we told Steve Goldstein that 400,000 people were sitting out on that beach and out on that boulevard, that Goldie would have been nervous if we told him the number of people that were watching him speak before he went on stage. You had no idea. You'd prefer not knowing how many people you're speaking to. Is that fair, Goldie?
I think I'm in the same boat as you, Stugotz. Just turn on the mic and don't think, just talk. When in doubt, keep going. That's it.
Were you surprised, Izzy, that he was nervous or would have been nervous?
A little bit, because, I mean, you talk to more people, I think, on a broadcast than 400,000. But if I would have seen the overhead shot of that crowd, I would have shit myself.
If I was Connor McDavid, I would have wanted to move from Edmonton to South Florida. I mean, how about that? So, Steve,
it was wild. And, you know, I said this last year, all you could see is just people and the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. It's just a strange, thing seeing that. And hey, you know what? I think only the Florida Panthers can do a celebration like that. I don't think we've never seen it. I don't think we're ever going to see it. Again, a celebration like that on the beach.
Why'd you apologize to start off your you did it on CBS. I saw that in the morning. You got up on stage, you apologized, but you were right. And what you said last year, you were correct in saying it.
Well, I said it's once in a lifetime, but I lied. I mean, right. Honestly, for this franchise, and we all know where the Panthers have come from, to get to the point where they win a cup 2-1 on home ice at Amerant Bank Arena in Game 7, it doesn't get any better than that. Yet a year later, they did it again. So I had to apologize because I told everybody, savor it, blow it out. Whatever you were planning on doing when the Panthers finally win the cup, go and do it because it's once in a lifetime. And a year later, we're right back in the exact same place doing it again. So that was my apology.
All right. Goldie, you've been here down in South Florida as long as I can remember. And so I'm just wanting to check in with you on sort of where we are with the Panthers, because I think the anonymity thing, probably gone. I think even Carter Verhaeghe walks through a store these days is going to get recognized. But I'm just trying to figure out where you see the bond with this city, with this area growing with this team, because like I said, it wasn't but 3 years ago where Matthew Tkachuk could walk up and down the aisles of a Publix and not get recognized, and now he's the best sports star going in South Florida.
I'll tell you this, Izzy, I got to be careful what I say when I'm out for dinner or I'm in a bathroom somewhere or I'm in Publix, because, and I've said this publicly, it's hard for me almost to go anywhere without somebody trying to talk about hockey, which is fine, by the way. I appreciate that. So I can only imagine for the players, it's grown. And you know what I loved about it yesterday when I did my little roll call, that's now become a thing since they've won it twice.
Right. Yep.
And Miami-Dade County, when I started mentioning Doral and all, got huge cheers. And when I was amongst the crowd yesterday, so many young people. That's what I notice, Izzy. It's not just, the guys in our age group, people that move from the north, from New York and New Jersey to Florida, back in the 90s. It's not just that. It's a whole new generation of fans. And then I look over at the War Memorial, the new practice facility over there, and you see how many kids are on the ice, even if it's just a free skate. Mm-hmm. The kids now growing up in Florida, skating and hockey and Panther games, whether it's in person or on TV, is now part of what you do. So that's where I see it. It's really grown. And what the Panthers are doing right now is they are solidifying, much like the Heat did, back in the 2000s. You're talking 20 years ago, 15 years ago. You're solidifying the next generation of fans. That's what I'm seeing.
I was going to say, what's so cool about that is you have fathers taking their sons, and those sons will eventually be fathers, and they'll be taking their sons to Florida Panthers games, and that's how you grow a fan base, Goldie. That's it. It's that simple.
It really is. And, the fact that, remember all those years, people didn't see, they didn't know what it was like, playoff hockey, when you win a series, and now they're clinching Stanley Cups at home. I mean, they're the first team to win back-to-back cups on home ice in nearly 40 years. Crazy. We may remember it. We were teenagers back in the 80s when Gretzky and the Oilers were doing it. Nobody else remembers that. It's never happened. So 100% those moments, as we all know, I grew up, big sports geek, going to all the games with my dad. And those are the memories all these years later that you carry with you. And that's what this whole generation is going to remember. And then you throw on top that these guys are the most likable bunch of guys and characters you're going to find. They're sharing the cup with everybody. They don't look down on the fans. They're right in there with the fans. That makes it even all the more special that the fans now with this team, you could literally reach out and touch these guys and have interaction with them. As we know in sports, that's not always the case.
Speaking of reaching out and touching, here's how I knew this year was different, right? Yeah. So last year at 11, the nightclub, which for people who don't know, it's also a cabaret, so it's a little different. Last year, got my normal complimentary table, got set up, got the boys in, everything's great, right? Hey, look, they're right next to us taking shots with Lomberg. It was great. This year, I get there, and I'm like, hey, we got all in. Where's my complimentary table? Oh, it's not available because the thing sold out within seconds. I was like, well, I'll buy one. It's like, I don't know if you want to know these prices. It's like, oh my God. And then I was like, all right, we figured something out. We ended up getting our table. But then sitting back and watching Matthew Tkachuk just kind of absorb it all. Like, he did his little speech, he gave a little rah-rah stuff, but he mostly spent the whole night sitting back, watching Brad Marchand, watching Sam Bennett, watching a very drunk Rodriguez, just everybody just kind of accepting all the love.
He got enjoyment and satisfaction out of watching them have enjoyment and satisfaction.
He was like the father of it all, just kind of sitting back and watching, but he's not even that old. And so that's when I knew, I was like, man, this town is so connected with him. That guy's like everybody's, for lack of a better term, everybody's daddy right now. And it's just really cool to be a Florida Panthers fan.
Dude, he's such an awesome guy. Treats everybody great. He really does. Like, even as a broadcaster, he treats me the same way he treats a teammate. It's amazing to watch, whether you're security at the arena, the people that work on the plane. He's a terrific guy. He learned that from his dad. All he told those two boys, Matthew and Brady, play hard and treat everybody with respect. And both kids really do that. Amazing trade by Bill Zito to get Matthew Tkachuk here. And he's, in a lot of ways, he's the franchise turner. They always had a good team. They were a good team before that, great offensive team. He brought the juice. He brought the energy. He brought the swag to it. And then we find out that he's playing, I don't even know in what percentage, maybe 60%, maybe 70% at times, may need surgery. Just an unbelievable person, an unbelievable player, and a guy that the whole team rallies around.
It seems like that was the moment when they signed Tkachuk. It seems like that was the moment where the rest of the players started taking the Florida Panthers seriously. Like, oh, that's a destination. Yeah.
You know what, Stu? The other thing is he could have come in and he could have, kind of forced a trade if he wanted to another team. And he could have demanded, remember, no, I need 11 million. I need 12 million. He came in here, paraphrasing, obviously. I know Barkov and Bobrovsky make 10 million. I know I'm going to be just under that. That's fine. So he's making 9.5. So, that also sets the tone on a team. It's about team. It's about winning. And if there's one less zero in the bank account at certain times, so be it. And that kind of slotted everybody in. That's why Sam Reinhart, they were able to get that done at about 8.5 million and so on and so forth.
My other two memorable things on 11 nightclub, because I didn't go to the parade. I watched that one on TV. Sorry, Goldie. But
that's okay.
Sam Reinhart, I learned, is the guy that you do not want giving a best man speech at your wedding because it will last forever. A drunk Sam Reinhart with a hoarse voice did not want to give up the microphone. But really the most impressive thing was how much Brad Marchand is the king of South Florida right now. Like, Goldie, there's no way they can let him go, right? Like, he's created this attachment immediately. He can't go anywhere.
Well, I would throw it on him because what you say is true, Izzy. There's no way he can leave, right? It's not a matter of them letting him.
Right.
It's up to him. He's the free agent. So, again, if there's a bigger offer out there, that's up to him. But after what he just did with this team and this area in South Florida, I mean, he's been in the league for 16 years. I mean, it's not my money. I know every penny counts. I know that. Not my money. But if I'm Brad Marchand, I take whatever fits to stay here in South Florida and keep the other guys, and you already have most of the core signed, and try to become even more of a legend than he already is. You know they want to keep him. Yeah. They're the ones that traded for him. Hopefully he decides to stick around. We'll see if someone makes some, totally outrageous offer and he decides to take it. We'll find that out in a week. But what a trade by Bill Zito. And, that entire staff, because you go get a guy, right? This is why you have to have a great operation in your front office. So they've got about 7, 8, maybe 10 guys that they span it, whether they played, whether they were agents that have just been around, GMs, former GMs. And Gregory Campbell is one of the Panthers' assistant general managers. He played with Marchand in Boston when they were doing the winning. And you never know. It is so important to this team. Forget the talent of the guy. How's the guy going to fit in with the chemistry in that dressing room? And Gregory Campbell, where some in hockey, coaches, whatever, they're not sure. They never had Brad Marchand. Gregory Campbell goes, no. This guy, go do it. There's no issues with that. In fact, it's going to be great. I think that's part of the reason they've got this dynasty, which is what it is now, going here. There's no stone unturned. They got pro scouts with the eyes on the game. They got analytics people looking at the numbers. And then you got a bunch of people that either played with guys, no coaches that played with guys. Remember, Zito is with Seth Jones when Zito was an assistant GM in Columbus all those years ago. They've got a great set of eyes and everything else on all of these players. So when someone comes available, they can get the big group together and make the right decision. And Marchand was an amazing decision.
How was yesterday's parade as compared to last year's parade?
I was going to say a little calmer, Stugotz, because I was there so early.
Right.
But then that took off a life of its own by 12, 1 o'clock. It was nuts. It was different because we didn't have thunder and lightning going on, and everybody huddled under. I thought it was bigger. I thought it was even more enthusiastic because I think over the 12 months since the first one, as we talked about before, as Izzy brought up, there's just a lot more people in the hockey and Panther party now. So it was wild, and I know the players, they had just as good a time this year as they did last year.
Goldie, you mentioned that Tkachuk came here knowing that he wasn't going to make as much as some of the other guys. What have you kind of made of how the NHL, the rest of the NHL, has kind of handled this Panthers run, where one of the first things they point out is the no income tax and how much of an advantage that could be for the Florida Panthers?
Well, I really don't think it's much of an advantage at all because, you got Nashville, you got Dallas, you got Seattle, and no state tax there, and they're not winning cups. And by the way, from 97 until 2012, the Panthers didn't even win a playoff game.
Right.
Forget about winning.
It wasn't helping them.
Championships.
Right.
Exactly. So, and we all know it's, every team in the state of Florida, the NFL teams struggle at times. So I really don't look at it that way, especially in hockey, because number one on these guys' minds, they want to win. They want to win. And then if you throw the other stuff in, sure, maybe you get a guy to take, instead of $6 million, here's 5.8 because you're going to save money in a state tax. That's possible. But there's a ton of team in sports that are able to do that. And not every team wins every year. So I really don't think it's a major, factor at all in these guys' decisions. For years, great players didn't want to come and play for the Panthers because they didn't have the culture and they weren't winning.
You know who it's important to? The people who put money first, and they're not going to win you anything. So I think it's overrated.
I'm wondering how Steve Goldstein, he's out at a restaurant with his lovely wife. They're having a nice dinner. Panther fans who used to leave him alone. He hasn't been this recognized since he did the first team with Joe Rose and Jeff DeForest.
Wow,
I'm wondering. I'm just saying, it's been a terrible run, and now he's the voice of a back-to-back champion. Yeah. That puts him in a whole different level of famous, and it puts him in a whole different level of broadcasting. He is a Hall of Famer. Goldie is a Hall of Famer. No. I'm wondering how you handle people approaching you at dinner when you're trying to spend some time with your wife and family, and they're peppering you with, hey, is Ekblad coming back?
Well, Stugotz, it got to that level. We were doing the Sports Bang show, you and I. So,
that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of a repeat of that. No, everybody's pretty nice and respectful, so I really don't mind it because I think about where it came from. So it's awesome, and I know my place. I mean, I'm not going to be doing this forever. None of us are. So enjoy it while it's here. And I just think it's great for the sport and the game that, the fan base has been expanded to that level where people are interested and people want to talk about it. So it's really been it's been a lot of fun, to be honest with you.
But your wife is like, tell them to get the fuck out.
Well,
we're eating dinner.
Unless they're picking up a tab. I mean, take a seat. It's fine.
Wait, have fans picked up tabs for you? This is amazing. Have they?
No, once in a blue moon, like around where I live, West Brower.
Right.
If I'm in a place, someone, oh yeah, I'll get you that drink. But I don't. If people do offer, I go, no. I should be picking up their tab. To be honest with you, for the support.
This is how famous Goldie has gotten. Okay, he has an appearance on June 28th. With Bill Lindsay, an autograph signing. I mean, that is amazing. You and Lindsay, 28th, promote it.
I did one last year with Caneswear. In Davie, they do an awesome job. They've got a bunch of players. This one is up at the Wellington Mall. And I believe Stugotz, they've got players this Saturday all day long in different time slots.
Wow.
So my guess is they put it together. And then there was an hour and a half, 2 hours open. So that's where I was able to, slide it in between the players.
Sure.
But you know what? It's awesome that, again, for hockey, this stuff is going on in South Florida. And, we'll be up there at the Wellington Mall on Saturday at 12. And you can go online. You can pre-buy the tickets. And I'm sure Bill Lindsay will have a few more on his line than I will. But, hey, we'll take what we can get.
I'll tell you the way the fans can piss off a spouse.
Yeah.
If they ask them to take the photo.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of here.
Right.
Yes.
Do not ask my spouse
Abby,
to take
you
the
mind
photo.
taking the photo? Oh,
Get out of here.
Taylor, by the way, you know where we're going on Saturday?
To this autograph
We're
sign?
going to Wellington.
Wow.
Yes,
Let's go.
we're going to set up shop. We'll be in Goldie's line, okay? Not Lindsay's line. And we're going to interview some players, all right? What's the weirdest thing you've ever signed? Someone's asked you to sign, Goldie.
Well, yesterday, keep going.
A breast. A bare breast.
The high up is, collarbone area. I wasn't going to go there. You never know who's filming.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was at the parade yesterday where when we were done on the stage and I was walking back, into the street. Yeah. Had a few,
Perfect.
and
Perfect
then,
segue.
by the way, what I've learned? When a Sharpie gets sweaty, it no longer works. Words I never thought I would ever utter in my broadcasting career, but now I know.
You got to stay away from the nipple. It gets dangerous. But speaking of bare
It wasn't
breasts,
that low, yes.
my last observation from 11.
You at 11.
Yes,
Jesus.
because, they had the speeches, right? Sam gave I'm not fucking leaving. So he did that one. And we had, Marshy was kind of hinting that he wants to stay. Okay. Aaron Ekblad, nothing. He said absolutely nothing. And if you watch that little video that, made you tear up after the championship, it felt like Paul Maurice was giving a goodbye speech to Ekblad, said, oh, thank you for everything you've done for me for the 12 years. Are we losing Aaron Ekblad? Not that you can see the future, but it feels like we kind of are, yeah?
Seems like the guy, if there's a guy to go, he's going to be the guy.
Well, look, Bennett, you have to they figure out a way to get it done. Maybe he takes a little less. Maybe they offer a little bit more than they really wanted to. You figure that it gets done. Aaron Ekblad's an interesting case because he's been making $7.5 million for the last 8 years. Right. His second deal was a big deal. There was no bridge where you went from the rookie deal, hey, here's 3 years and $10 million, like a lot of guys do. So look, right-handed defenseman, 2-time Cup champ, can play in all situations. You figure, especially with the cap going up over $92 million this year, there's going to be some team out there that may roll out a contract that's just too rich for the Panthers with the salary cap. They love to keep him. He'd love to stay. But it just, is he going to stay for half the money? You have a hard time, thinking that. I hope it works out. But again, they lost Montour last year. Remember, they lost Ekman Larson. When you win, there's going to be some guys that go. And we'll see in the next week if Ekblad's one of those guys.
All right, Mikey A, we have a surprise for you here. Steve Goldstein, a professional broadcaster, one of the best play-by-play guys in hockey.
Hall of Famer.
You're a Hall of Famer, Goldie. You are. I mean, you're great. Anyway, we wasted his time. And Mikey A jumped off a cliff. He was recently on vacation. We have played it a couple of times here, but we have never played it with a professional play-by-play guy calling the action. So, Mikey A, Steve Goldstein did this as a gift to you, my friend.
Does Mikey have the physical skill? Does he have the mental ability and the guts to do the jump? We wait with great anticipation. He's got people egging him on, pushing him. The hesitation continues, but I think he's ready. Mikey, about to go. And there he goes. We've got splashdown. Wow, Mikey into the water with precision.
You are a pro. I wasted your time.
There you have it.
I've never done anything with precision in my life.
There you have. Well, that's in my professional rock jumping analysis. So
I also sent it to him 2 minutes before he came on.
That's true.
Goldie, congratulations, man. Back-to-back cups, back-to-back parades. Perhaps there'll be a third. We will see. But this has been such a great time, a special 2 years for you. I know how much it means to you, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for that organization, man.
Appreciate it. And always thanks for having me, fellas.
You got it,
Thank
Goldie.
you, Goldie.
We'll get you in
Thank you,
studio
sir.
one day, man.
You got it.
All right. We won't pay you.
I know. That's okay.
All right.